Hello everybody, good evening. Today is January 30th. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. Alright guys, big day in the market. So I'm gonna discuss the AMD, Google, Microsoft earnings in the end. So if you don't want the recaps, you can move to the end of this video and you can watch that from the episodes below. And then I will also discuss SPY QQQ market analysis and plan for tomorrow. Again, if you are not interested in the recaps and teachings, you can move at end of this video. Anyways, guys, anybody who's new to me, new to my YouTube or new to my Twitter, these are my recaps and teachings from my trades today. My trades or the trades I do not take, but I guide my community in those trades or any trades that trading floor, the traders in my community that they are trading, any ideas where we make money, where we lose money. So we're going to discuss all that. What we do is repeatable. We do not do any random trades. We do not go against the trend. We have a fixed system. We trade with a fixed system. We trade with the repeatable setups. We repeat same things day in, day out. Those of who watch my YouTubes, I've been putting these recaps from last 6-7 months. Before that, a lot of my trades over the years were before and after on the Twitter. So anyways, so my daily routine, just gonna wrap for somebody who's new, my daily routine. I get up every day 1 hour before the market open. What you see here is our community. This is our community, and you know it has a lot of tools, scanners, news bots, option flows. Everything is inbuilt in this community. So every day I wake up 1 hour before the market open. Me and my team go through all the news that is there, any analyst upgrades, analyst downgrades. We subscribe to a lot of news sources, and I go through bunch of gappers, up and downs and everything, and I create a news plays game plan for the rest of the day for everybody. So I create that game plan for everybody, and at the same time I spend 20 minutes going through all the market plays. Market plays are the plays which we play every day, which are dependent on market, the big seven FANG, Apple, Microsoft, AMD and all others, and I create levels on those. So for today's levels, guys, you can see today's levels right here clearly. At the big, for example, SPY was range bound between 490, 491, 42. The two levels that I gave in the pre-market, they worked to the point. SPY was in those two levels. Apart from that, AMD was a nice short, Boeing was a nice short under the support pivots, and Google. So there were these levels. You can pause, you can take a screenshot, and you can go back and see how these levels panned out. I will recap some of these levels in some of the plays we did today, like AMD and others. Apart from that, today's watch list. This was the news plays watch list today. The plan, SMCI was our top play, UPS, General Motors and few others, and banks, of course. So once I go through one by one through each play, then we will recap these as well. Anyways, guys, so and after that we have a game plan. We have the levels. We're ready for our morning market to open, and okay, so let's start with our first play. All right, guys, here we go. Our first play of the day was SMCI. So SMCI was our best play of the day in the morning. It was gapping up, but what were my pivots? Let's go back to my pivots. My pivots on SMCI was 565 was resistance pivot. The support was 540 and 536. So as per our plan, the setup was simple. It was gap up, gap fill setup. As soon the market open, I guide my traders that watch the pops to 550, because 550 is our resistance, risk to short. If 550 fails, short it. I saw the 550 failing right away. I added the short. You see here 933, I said short added. And then it was all about following our targets, guiding everybody to the targets. So the first thing was we needed to break 531, 522s. 500 puts was also something you could trade. The puts were very expensive and very spready on these ones. So you could trade shares on SMCI that were very profitable. But anyways, the 500 puts were also good. So we showed it open. As you see, pre-market plan, all the pre-market plan was neutral buys, want to see clouds dip, hold and breakout, long for push. Under 546 is a gap fill. So the plan is simple. The plan is laid out, and the second part of the plan is which we executed. So we play probabilities. We do not predict. We play the levels, the probabilities, and our system. Our system is pretty straightforward. Our system tells us either it's a long or short, and we do it day in and day out. Our system told us SMCI is a short. We shorted it, and 500 puts went 100% just in first 7 minutes, right? And we hit 520 because you have to be fast, right? So I gave this play, I gave this play 20 minutes before the market opened. So everybody should be ready. This is, I'm telling my community members. So you should be ready with this play, and before I even say that I'm adding short, you should be in that, because our pivots is breaking. The 546 pivot is breaking, and then my first target was 522. So we met our 522 target. We covered at 520s. My next target was 500 or 505. So those were my next two targets. Let's see what target did we meet. Okay, let's see. So the target met. We even met our 505 target by end of the day. If you miss the morning trade, you wait for the bounce. The bounce was into this 512 EMA Clouds. You could clearly see a resistance here. That's where you add your next short. You see this 527 resistance. You can draw it out, and it's also these are 8, 9 EMA ribbons. You can use those, and that is what it was pushed into. So, and it was rejected and it faded back. So no, there was, and that was the short, right? And we that was from 540s. Even if you added 540s, that was a $30 short. Even if you had 50 shares, right? Let's say you risked, how much did you risk on 50 shares? On 50 shares, you are risking 100 or 200 or $200, right? But you are made over $1,500 on 50 shares of SMCI. That I'm saying for a smaller account, but this is how you get the exponential winners. A plus setup, set open. So we don't get biased. Anyways, you can see the timestamp guidance, never a insight from me. Beautiful trade on SMCI. Now we took the profits, we were out. Now I was looking to buy versus 500, right? So I was looking to buy versus 500. My traders in community, they're very smart traders. Everybody follows a fixed system. So they knew, right, that SMCI, we are looking at 500. So Stefan, I was away, and Stefan was telling me that it's a good curve. We are not buying here. 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 We are buying here. You see, 502s. That's where it bounced. So your risk was 500, and then this is a reversal candle, kind of a hammer there, and then a downtrend line break, and then 512 EMA curve, right? So that is the curve, and so there was a 508 buyer. They cleared the 508 buyer. And then Stefan comes in, he says that's a C minus long setup, that's against the trend. He saw this candle, and then I said, yes, it's curling, and then you could add here, you could add here. I set some price alerts as well for the community. Even if you added 4, 5, 10s, which was a little wider, it was a wider risk reward because you would have to risk 1 and 1. Even then you got $10 of that, but the ideal entry was closer to 500. But even if you added 5 10s, you could risk the low of this candle as 5 of 5s. You could risk $5, and you could make $10. So 1 risk to 2 reward, and that's what I said. 512 curl, nice push, and the first target is always 3450, right? So beautiful push on 3450, 512. Great teamwork in the community today, great guidance and execution. So SMCI was beautiful winner today. All right, guys, let's look at the next plays. This morning, Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, all of them were upgraded by Morgan Stanley. Funny, huh? Banks are upgrading banks. That's always funny. But anyways, the point was, it was on our watch list. It was in my news news plays, and the pivots were Bank of America 33.95 upper pivot, Citibank upper pivot 55. Goldman Sachs also had a pivot, but I did not trade it. But as soon as I set the price alerts, right, on those pivots, I set price alerts. And if you see, the price alerts started to go in right in the morning. Right here, let's go back and see our price alerts were starting to go in. Bank of America was breaking the pivot, right? Then the Citibank was breaking the pivot. I saw that and I told my community right then at that time, let's go back, let me show you. So I told my community that Citibank and Bank of America is strong on the upgrade. As per the news sheet, it is over the our pivot. So that means the rules are clear. The stock is over the pivot. Stock is over the pivot. It's a long idea versus the EMA Clouds. And let's look at what Bank of America did all day. So look here, all day the pivot I gave was right here. It breaks the pivot, pushes all day, small account, really nice for small accounts. The options from 20-30 cents to went to 80-90 cents, 100-200% gain for smaller account. Not only that, look at the Citibank, right? So Citibank breaks the pivot I gave every day at pre-market and keeps going. And look at that, right? So I keep reminding people that there's a good trend, and where is the next leg upcoming. And C was still holding the trend. That means you still hold. Look at this beauty of trend. You do not need to cut it, right? Again, traders are executing themselves. We are staying on the top. I'm guiding them. We're talking about when the trend can break and then hold. I said Citibank hold, and I've been saying that at 10:55. I said at 10:55 that hold. And Bank of America was kind of a little slowing down, but then Bank of America did a breakout flag, right? So here was the Bank of America breakout at 11:08, and then you hold it still. And Citibank was going there as well. Then finally we got a big extension. Then I was like 100% ATR. We used to need to log the profits, but the thing is, it went from 100% to 140% ATR. So you were just supposed to roll the profits, right? C was still in trend. I did take profits on Bank of America when it was breaking this down, and it kind of faked me, but that's enough. We hit the top from the bottom, so no regrets of taking off here. It was literally a huge winner, especially if you were trading a small account. So I said I'm all out. But Citigroup, I did not say. I specifically told everyone that it's still in the trend on the last piece. I had to step away, so I couldn't close, so somehow I still have the position on that. But so you can see that how it was. So here is that Citibank. It held the trend all the way till the end, and look where it went from the 55s, right? So this is and we JPM was not on a watch list, but we're still talking about it because I even tweeted about it, right? So let's say I tweeted about let's look at banks. I was tweeting of. So if we look at the banks, okay. So if you see the banks, so the banks was, I tweeted that in the morning as well, and it was strong, and the banks ended up going crazy all day. So even whenever you traded those banks, they were simply amazing trades on those banks, JPMC and Bank of America. So it's all about the sector, guys. You need to know what sector is strong, right? I always have my watch lists here. So make your watch list. I have my bank watch list. I know the banks are strong. That's why I kept talking about the banks all day. JPM is strong. Bank of America is strong. Wells Fargo is strong. And then I look at the sectors, right? So I'm looking at these sectors today. Let's see which sector was strong. You could clearly see XLF was on the top of it, then Energy SPY, and all those sectors. So you just need to know which sector is strong, and we know there was upgrades. We know Bank of America was strong. Tomorrow's FOMC, so you need to capitalize. Anytime you jumped into this trend all day, you made money, right? you made money. And we had it on watchlist pre-market, and I was talking about it all day, right? So the point is, when there's trend like it, you should capitalize, right? These are the trades that make you real money. All right, guys, let's go to next one is Apple, guys. I'm gonna go a little fast. You can pause and take these screenshots and review it later. But anyways, let's look at Apple. So Apple support pivots was 190.23 and 189.58, right? So Apple, so you saw the support pivots. Support pivots is breaking. This means you have to take the short, right? When such a big volume fading, that's what you do. You take a short. And I told everyone, right, that I was on the voice, do not buy Apple, do not buy Apple, right? Apple can go much lower, and that's what Apple did. Apple went much lower, you know. So we talked about Apple all day. Look at the community, everybody was trading Apple, doing so good, you know, on the Apple all day, you know. So that's how you trade. That's the power of the community, you know. We are on top of it. Everybody is talking about the, you know, those moves, those plays. So that's beautiful, right? So pivot broke down, short, ride the short as long as the system holds. All right, guys, let's look at AMD. So for AMD, what was my pivots? So for AMD, the pivots were simple. So AMD, the pivots were 174.40 and then 175, right? So AMD 175 right here, there you go. This is the pivot, right? So AMD did not trigger the pivots right in the morning. It triggered the pivots later. And I will talk about SPY QQQ later, but we knew QQQ was bearish all day. When the market is bearish, the market plays are going to tank regardless. And it breaks the pivot. I tell everyone it can still go much lower. I gave everybody 170 target, right? We hit the 170 and we hit more. I said it can still fade more at 1 p.m. and we were at 173 and we broke 175, 173 and then hit 170 target. From if you took the pivot short, that was $5 short there. If you know, even if here when it was breaking this bear flag, this was another $3 short. So good, beautiful guidance. I will discuss the AMD earnings in the end. Let's move to the next play. All right, so let's look at UPS. So UPS, the plan was simple. 146 was support pivot, 150 to 150 were resistance pivots, neutral to bearish to short. If fails, the cloud pops. So means it pushes and fails, that's when we short. So it pushed, it failed, right? You can either start here or you can wait, but when it breaks that pivot that I gave to everyone, that was 146, you can add right there, right? Better add is like when you see this failing, because you have a clear risk over here, let's say 70-80 cents or $1 risk rather than here, and then you can add into this short. So it was a nice short, 146, the fade to from 146. The target was ideally, the target was 144, right? It fades, you know, cover a little bit, and then it bounces. I am still holding, waiting to see if it goes up or goes down, you know. So so 146 short and keep covering on the way. We hit 144.50. I left some for 144 target. I left 1/3 in case we bear the bear flag, but then it started to curl and then I closed in the green right here, right? So you see that we are still closing it in the green, right? We started the short over 146 and when this area is breaking down, but we still closing green. Not a big trade, but still. And the good part is when this was curling, this was the another setup that I teach in my webinars and that I, you know, been showing on the Twitter as well, how this setup works. Then that's the 512 curl, and a lot of people in the community were scalping it long. So it's all about the setups, guys. Opportunity is the system. Ripster EMA Clouds is giving you the system. And somebody was asking me, can we long it, Rip? And I said yes, you can long it. It's curling from 512 EMAs. It curled from 145.90 all the way to 147 area, right? So that was again a decent curl play in the market on UPS. So you can clearly see how the trends change all day, how the trend changes. So understand that. So UPS was nice small winner. Let's look at General Motors, which was a loser today. So General Motors was pushing. I longed it at the open. I longed it at the open, and the breakout it pushed. I mean, it's a small range stock. I never do really good with these small ranges. Anyways, it pushed towards 38.96. That was working fine. Then I was buying the dips. It was working fine, fine, fine. Then I knew, because it's not making higher lows. It's not making higher highs. So when it's the 10-minute candles are not making higher lows, it's not going really going to work. So that's when I just I got it. I took my loss from 38.55 to 30 40 cent loss. I just took the loss and I moved on. But I did tell everyone that you can short it. So look at this guy. Our teachings, James. He shorted the cloud break. He shorted from 38 all the way to 37.44. He made 45% profit. Even if you had timed your long in the morning, you could have done good. But I was looking for a bigger move. That's why I did not really cut it. So I just, I took a loss and move on. But we did have the plan in the pre-market on General Motors was 38.60 was the resistance pivot to long. And when 38.60 breaks, it didn't really push too much. It's just a spike candle and right back. So you just need to move on. Do not hold the loser too long when the opening candles are showing you that they are not holding up. But then another setup that showed up was a 34.50 bounce later in the day. Let's see if we had that support line 37.60. We had 37.60 bounce from 37.40. So anyways, it was a loser today, but I see some folks did a good execution there. All right, guys, let's look at Boeing. So Boeing was simple today, guys. Boeing has some news, and in the pre-market, the support pivot was 203.40, and Boeing was capping down. The support breaks right away. Right away, the support breaks. And that's when that was the short, and then my target was 200. I said it should push to 200, 200, and we met the 200 target, right? Even if you missed the opening short because it had a news and all, you could have easily shorted. I was on the voice talking about it as well, but I did put it in the chat that we are going to should push to 200, and from this 202 it pushed to 200. Was decent little trade there by the community. Let's check out FFIV. So FFIV, so very simple plan. Company reported earnings and revenue beat in the fiscal first quarter. The support is 198, the resistance pivot is 204. So let's see how FFIV performed. So 200 psychological level, resistance right at open, right, high of the day, and then it breaks the pivot. So if I go to 2 minute, maybe I can show you in the better way. It breaks the 198. You see that resistance is rejecting 198, and right away I tried to tell everyone that we are going to fill the gap, use the 200 risk or 198 risk, and then it faded from that 198 level. Let's say that entry was had, even from 193, it faded all the way to 187, guys. It was a $6 short. So it was a good scalp. Wherever you add, it is a good trade, good scalp, and now it's even trading at 184s. So that's the gap fill, guys. It didn't trade much volume, but the setup worked. Let's talk about Pfizer now, guys. So for Pfizer, Pfizer was on our watch list today. What was the plan? Let's look at the plan on Pfizer watch list. I think I mentioned Pfizer later. So Pfizer, I was watching for the pullbacks on the longs initially, but when I saw this candle, I scratched the long idea, and my idea was that it's a short. It's a short because once it breaking the pivot, it becomes a short, and it did keep fading all the day. that's when I said scratch the long, because there was no long when it's breaking down here. Lows were not holding, and then it faded at even at 944. I was talking about that. It did fade all the way to around 27. It has like basically 60 ATR, small ATR stock, small account stock, but was okay, nothing special there. I didn't trade it, but was guiding everyone on this one. So SOFI was a day 2 setup. It was a trade was over 9, the risk was 879, 9 and risk is 879. Basically you're risking 21 cents. It hit 940s, you made like 40 cents, and then it came back, and you should see that there's a resistance there, and you should see that should be your target. Same resistance that rejected yesterday, it rejected around the same resistance and came back. So it was a nice scalp if somebody took it from that 9 level. And I think I did have it on my day 2 setup. We provide those setups separately. It was here day 2, SOFI, 9, 9, 10 pivots. Let's look at American Express on day 2. So American Express was day 3 actually. It was not day 2. American Express was day 3, not day 2. So in our community, everybody knows the rules with these setups, right? Day 2 setups. It's simple. Or day 3 setup. If they stay over the cloud. So what is day 2, day 3 setup? The day 1 is a day of a big, huge volume, big, huge news, and then corresponding days are day 2, day 3. Most ideally, we play them with earnings comes out, and then day 1, day 2, day 3, we watch them. And if you look, that's how we nail them, because we do not miss. We keep eyes on that. So American Express day 3 setup, day 3, I keep saying day 2. There was day 1, day 2, day 3. So it was day 2 setup, good one, less stressful, over the clouds, over the pivot, held 200, and it pushed to 2043. And a lot of the traders know, because I teach these things day in and day out. So you see a lot of traders are already trading those AXPs, Johnny, Valpy, Hornet, Prakash and Ambience, Nancy, everybody's trading that, because we know that how these things are moving, and we repeat it day in, day out. So that was AXP, guys. Nice trade for those who took it. All right, guys, let's talk about the earnings. So as you guys know, this afternoon AMD earnings came out, Google earnings came out, and Microsoft earnings came out. First, I want to talk about the semiconductors, right? The semiconductors, people fail to realize that we ran up 50-80% on a lot of these semiconductor stocks into these earnings. And guys, the stocks can't keep running that any new earning comes. We already know semiconductors are hot. Everybody knows semiconductors are hot. This does not mean that we just keep running like crazy. Let me just remove this line and see at NVIDIA, right? So where's NVIDIA coming from? It's just from November 410 to 634, right? SMCI just from December, 250 to 500, 100%. AMD, just from December 117 to 184. So we fail to realize that this parabolic move and in these stocks is already in. So it doesn't mean we come up with a new earning and then the stock is going to keep going. Guys, the market always works that way. Go long, pull back, consolidation, long. So that's why I closed my AMD. If I show you, I had given this Twitter idea on AMD. Let me just quickly show you guys here. Let's see here. So if you see that, I gave this idea on January 3rd that 133 area can be considered for this pullback long right here, right? Pullback long on this breakout. And then look what happened. From that pullback right here straight to 185s. So anyway, so that's that's what I tweeted, that I logged it, and you could see. So my thing is, we need a reset. We need a reset on the market. Nothing can just keep going crazy like that. Because market is already pricing them too much. We already have paid enough price. Yes, of course, long term these stocks can go another 100-200%. Who cares? But the point is, what are we doing right now? So people were getting blind into these earnings, buying lotto and all that. And that's not how it works out, guys. So let's look at AMD earnings first. you know. So AMD earnings, I really like it. So what did I say? Let's see. Yeah. So AMD earnings was, look at it, last quarter 69, same quarter last year, 69 EPS, this time 77 EPS, right? So EPS is growing a little, not huge, 11%. Revenue growing, not huge, 10%. I mean, there's a growth, but we are already trading at much higher multiples of the earnings, and the stock has already doubled. And this growth is good, but doesn't mean that the stock is going to the moon, right? So I think it was already priced in, and that's what I tweeted, and that's why you are seeing in the price that it's coming back. And I think all the semiconductors need a little cool down, because people will take profits when all the earnings are out. People know there's no other catalyst left, and there will be some reset. We need a reset on Nvidia, we need a reset on SMCI, and those resets will come, guys. There will be a day then when all of them are down $20-30 in a day, right? So anyways, so I was not too excited about the earnings. I was actually calling it short in the community, that I want to short, but then I saw the strength and then I left. But the short actually worked, if I show you. So so I was going to short it. So I was like 150, and there was Google. I want to short it at 172, but when I saw the strength, I left. I had to go, and then of course it's tanked back to 165 from 152. So guys, always look at, whenever you're analyzing the earnings, always look at the stock. It's already like such a huge market cap company, hundreds of billions dollars, and we are already seeing, it's not, if the EPS was growing like at 50-60% and revenue grew another 30%, yeah, AMD over the moon. But we already priced in. Look at where we are from the last quarter to now. So you just have to analyze things that way. Do not get blinded into these things. So let's look at the next earning, guys. Microsoft, solid earnings, guys. Microsoft was EPS grew to, if they were making $2.30 per share, they made $2.90 a share. That's pretty impressive, guys, for a $3 trillion market cap company, which is still growing. It's pretty impressive, guys. Look at the year-over-year revenue increase from 53 billion to 61 billion. Right? And look at the exponential every quarter. There was a consensus. Every quarter, you can look at these revenues. Every quarter, they are going from 52 billion to 53, 56, 56.5, and 62 billion. So that's impressive, right? Now, does that mean it goes to the moon? Well, you see in the price, it's holding 400. Even it is extended. It is extended. It can't just go to the moon, but it held 400 psychological level. So that's the reason. If it was not that good, Microsoft would have been trading much lower. And let's look at Google. Google again, solid earnings, solid earnings. Revenue, look at the revenue increase exponentially, 76 to 86. EPS, if they made $1 on a share, they made $1.64. Earnings grew 56%, guys. That's, if it was any other stock, it would probably going to moon by now. If the Google didn't run up so much before the earnings, the Google would have been going to moon right now. But again, the sentiments are same. It broke the 150. The price action doesn't really mean, there are so many factors. You people fail to realize the factors behind the psychology and the price action. If the stock is consolidating before the earnings, guys, that's when you get the move. But if the stock is parabolic before the earnings, you don't really always get the move. Somebody told me, yeah, SMCI was priced in too, right? Somebody told me about that. But here's the thing, guys. For the SMCI, there were few things, right? It was still trading at much lower multiples than AMD or other stocks, and it was breaking out of the 500 psychological level. And then you did see the profit taking today, right? Even if it went higher, you did see the profit taking. Similarly for Microsoft, it is the 400 psychological level. That's what it is, and it's pushing from there. For Google, 150 is a big level I shared today, and it broke the 150. That's why it faded to 140, 250. And I think Google will be an opportunity to buy, 139. will be straight opportunity to buy tomorrow. Hopefully it gaps down a little bit more, then we can do a B minus bounce on Google on 139. More than AMD, yeah, it goes to 150, we'll do that. So let's discuss this in tomorrow's plan. All right, guys, welcome to tomorrow's plan. So before I discuss tomorrow's plan, what did SPY and QQQ today? SPY all day was in a range. I lost 2 trades on my SPY chop. I won 1 trade because you see this range, and this was the level I gave in the pre-market, right? I gave 490, 491, 42. It stayed in this range, up, down, stayed in the range. QQQ was weak. Why was QQQ weak? And we were short on all the QQQ names, as I showed you in the recap, because we were in the clouds. All the big names were falling. Apple was bearish, Microsoft was bearish, Google was bearish, Amazon was bearish. So now tomorrow is going to be a big day. Semiconductors will move the market. At the same time, we have Google and we have FOMC tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a crazy day, guys. I tell you that, because the stocks will be reacting to this earnings in the morning, and then in the middle of the day we have FOMC coming up. So there will be a lot of volatility. I hope there's not much chop. Talking about individual names, guys, I'm hoping Google pulls back to that 139 retest level that I showed you on daily. We can try to see if that holds. If that level holds, we can do a B minus bounce against the system, because that's a daily retest, And for AMD, I'm still bearish. If AMD breaks 160 tomorrow, we're going much down. I will put the rest of live commentary tomorrow in the community. And for the Nasdaq, let's look at the daily chart on Nasdaq, guys. So daily chart on Nasdaq is, is it gapping down? It's still over this range. You see this? It's still around that. If I put the pre-market highs, lows, you can see where is it trading. Let's see if I can show you skills, pre-market, post-market. Yeah, so 421.93, that's where it's trading. It's still on the trend, still over the daily trend, and if it breaks this level, this 420, then we can pull back. You need to watch all the semiconductors. They will tell us what it wants to do. We need to watch Google, Microsoft, how they trade. They will lead the market tomorrow. And then of course an FOMC, and usually we chop around FOMC, but tomorrow is kind of very rare day where we have this big 3 earnings response, and then we have FOMC. So we're going to trade accordingly. Something to watch tomorrow is the VIX, that it stays under 14, does not bounce too much. I can check where the VIX futures are trading. Let's look at VIX futures. So VIX futures are right now trading at 14 bucks. So tomorrow it's all about 14 level on VIX. If it stays over 14, we can get pressure. If it drops under 14, markets can can push. So this is what we are watching. Of course, we will watch the day 2 on the we will watch the banks again. Big winners today. Banks, go back, see the recap, and we will watch the day 2s on SMCIs. SMCI 500 breaks, it can fade. 500 holds, it can bounce. So the whole semiconductor sector we will be watching. Only earning that is left now is in the big semiconductors is Nvidia, which is on, that's far away. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. So AMD will lead it, and then Google, I already told you the daily level to watch. Microsoft, we watch the 400 level to hold. All these levels hold, we can try the B minus bounces and longs on those at a bigger picture level. Not going to get too much biased, but we are ready for tomorrow. Let's quickly look at SPY and wrap it up. For SPY, everything has been working amazingly good for us. So right now the post market SPY is trading at this big 489 level. So basically, let's go here. So SPY is back at that breakout level that it did yesterday. Now if it fails under this 489, it's gonna go back to 488. That's a big level that we need to watch tomorrow. And it's all about this 489 first. Under 489 will be bearish. and then it can reset. The chart can reset. Again, we need a reset. It's not bad if we reset backs to 489 and then 485s. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll be ready either way, guys. So as a summary, keep focus on these three names, keep focus on semiconductors, focus on banks, and we will kill it. If you want to trade with me, come join my community. Do not come for alerts, come for a traders community and guidance, and we'll trade together. All right, guys, see you later. Bye bye.